Greetings. You are tuned into week 1 of the 12-week webinar workshop, A Holistic Approach to a Healthy Mind and Body, presented to you by Ask Ashley Advisement. Hi, I'm Ashley, and it is my pleasure to gently usher you through expanded consciousness and awareness. This week, we will discuss the origins of disease, more specifically, what initiates and catalyzes the manifestation of physical illnesses. Please relax. I want you to absorb this information easily and effortlessly, affirming, healing my body is not a chore, it is a pleasure. Enjoy.
Okay, you guys probably got a recording in progress notification. But yeah, so the recordings will be available. I'll probably offer them on YouTube, and that's great for if you missed a week, or again, if you want to share this with a friend, you may just send them the recording, and that way they can, kind of see what it's all about. And so I think that's the bulk of my housekeeping things. So I'm gonna go ahead and get straight to it. All right. Everything that I produce on my Ask Ashley platform has one objective. The objective is to help raise your consciousness. And you may ask, now what on earth does that mean? I intend to increase your self awareness and your perception and your perspective. Okay. Consciousness is the essence of us that exists independently of our human body. So, you guys know that saying in church is like, to be separate from the body is to be present. Okay. I'm getting some feedback, y'all. So if you popping on, make sure you mute. Make sure you mute. Okay. So like I was saying,
Mercy.
okay. I think I got it. I think I got it muted. Hold on, y'all. If somebody knows, because I'm kind of new to the Zoom thing, if somebody knows how to mute everybody without me having to mute people individually, let me know. So again, like I said, the church saying that we always say to be absent from the body is to be present with God, right? So in quantum physics,
Not that game, this game.
okay, hold on, y'all. I'm still trying to mute. Okay, I think I figured out the mute. I figured out the mute all. Okay. So in quantum physics, how God is pretty much described is this unified field of consciousness. And as we go forward, you'll kind of be able to understand how to merge this information with their own religious beliefs. So, this unified consciousness is basically an ultimate alignment or an ultimate balance, right? Because we look at God or this unified field as this very perfect existence, right? So the unified objective is to bring us closer to God. That's what I'm saying when I say that I'm helping you to raise your consciousness and awareness. It's all about God. We always give reverence to God. And so it's about fostering an even deeper connection that you may already have, by taking into accountability some things that we may tend to overlook at times. And so while in this physical vessel, we may be able to experience health, wealth, abundance, and all of those things on our journey when we foster that closeness with God. So, we're going to do that by balancing our entire physiology. I don't know if you read the brochure, but we're going to be balancing our entire physiology. So, we're going to be looking at the mind, the body, the behavior, and the environment. And so, these four things is where we get the term holistic from. And like I said, as we go, we'll break these things down and it'll make more sense. So, as you all know, we have this very physical human body that we can all touch. It gets a little bit deeper than that, but we know that we have this human body and we have this beating heart. And when we have our consciousness or our God nature within this human body, then we say we are alive. And the only thing that's guaranteed with this life is that one day it's going to end, right? So when we begin this journey in this physical vessel, we also understand that we have an ending to this journey on the physical plane as well, right? And so once you have your consciousness or your creation input into this physical body, you have stress acting on you. So stress is acting on everybody. Sometimes we tend to look at stress as just the hurtful or harmful thing, but stress is always on us. Okay. So anything from the environment, from something you can smell, taste, eat, feel, an accident, aging, hygiene products, all of these things introduce new information into your physiology. And I say physiology instead of saying body because I'm not just talking about the body. I'm talking about your mental body, your emotional body. I'm talking about everything when I use that term. And so our thoughts, any and everything is coming and it's acting on you. So I'll say that things are acting on you, right? Now, whether or not it causes you stress in the way that we think of stress, well, that's going to depend on a couple of things. So the quality of our life is indicative to how we handle and respond to those stressors because they're going to come. And so we're going to talk about stress a lot. We'll do a deep dive into stress in week 4, but it'll just continue to come up through the webinars over and over because this is how we articulate what's happening to us in this experience. And so stress in its various forms is the main cause of disease and discomfort. Okay? Stress in various forms is the main cause of disease and discomfort. So, everything around you and within you is acting on you because we all exist in this synergistic way. Everything and everyone is connected. We have to learn boundaries and transmutation, amongst other things, just to figure out how to kindle our stress. So a lot of times we may, we do some talk therapy, we listen to people, we hear other people's story, we empathize with other people in their story, and we learn things and we learn different ways to respond. Because our initial ways of learning how to respond to stress may not be the most beneficial for us. A lot of times what happened from womb to the age of 7 may have been under the guidance of a person who themselves were stressed. And so you may not have had just like this ultimate way of figuring out how to handle things. So we may have to learn how to say no. We have to learn how to give grace. We have to figure out how to overstand situations or turn the other cheek. But remember this, stress is not our spirit body. Our consciousness is not stress. That part of us, that essence of us is the part of us that is in wholeness with everything. That is the part of us that's God. Okay? So I'm going to give you some things to consider here. So first, well, I'll tell you what they are and then we'll go step by step, right? So we have the spirit body, that connection to God. Under that, we have mental. Under that, we have emotional. And under that, we have physical. So those are the 4 things that we're going to discuss: the spirit, the mental, the emotional, and the physical. So just to keep us in this connection to health and wellness, which I promise we're going to talk more about diets and different things as we go forward. We got 12 weeks. We have time. I just want to use this first class as an opportunity to lay the foundation. So those 4 things, I want you to look at them in order too. Spirit being the highest, mental coming under that, emotional coming under that, physical coming under that. So usually we wait until the physical manifestation has occurred before we realize that something is wrong. We wait until we get the prognosis or the diagnosis in our physical body where it's visible, where it's detectable by mainstream instruments, where we can go to the doctor and they can do the blood level and they can tell you, oh, you have this, it's your thyroid, it's your diabetes, it's cancer, it's arthritis, it's this, it's this. Okay, that's the physical manifestation, right? That's the fourth one in the process that I just described. That's the last one. So what I want you to understand is that before it turned into a physical manifestation, it went through three things unchecked. It went through your spirit unchecked. It went through your mind unchecked. It went through your emotions unchecked. You didn't detect the imbalance until it became a physical manifestation. And even then, you probably still had to go see someone else for them to tell you what it was and get that opinion. Okay. So let's go up to the spirit. The spirit body in science is well known amongst physicists, but in most sciences, spirit is not really talked about and is kind of kept out of the equation. So a lot of times we only learn how to nurture our spirit body through our religions, right? And so I will kind of go back and forth with religious interpretations just for understanding. I do know that everybody that's on here may not be Christian, but you've probably been exposed to it in some way, or you'll kind of get the gist of what I'm saying, when I use some of those analogies. So our spirit is said to exist, our spirit or consciousness. I'll use both words because I'll use them interchangeably. But our spirit or our consciousness is said to exist within our heart. And so us religious people, or you'll understand that, God is in your heart. Where is God? God's dwelling space in your heart, right? So that's not hard to forget, right? So your spirit is in your heart. This is the dwelling place. The main function of it is charity, right? Giving. That's it. Cheerful giving. That's it. I'm going to tell you right now, that will remedy a good portion of stress that you all experience, is to just stop what you're doing and do something for somebody else. Now, not just anybody else, because it's certain kind of giving, right? It's cheerful giving. So not saying you cannot cheerfully do something for your child or cheerfully do something for your spouse, but a lot of time that giving is actually connected to an obligation. And so when we think about charity, sometimes you think about doing something for a person you're never going to see again. You think about maybe going to the soup kitchen or something and just serving some people and just going ahead and giving of self in whatever ways that you can. That is a remedy for the heart, is to be in that space to give. Now, a lot of times we ourselves are experiencing lack because we're thinking about what we need and what we don't have. And a lot of times when we get in those spaces, we're like, I'm cutting off everything that's not reciprocal. If it ain't given to me like I'm giving to it, I can't do it. I can't do it, because we hear about these boundaries and we hear about these different things, and it's cool, but everybody is not approaching these topics with the proper level of integrity. Because as spiritual beings, we understand that to give to someone may not mean that you're going to receive from that same person, but there is a guarantee that you're going to receive. You're going to receive from God, and you're going to receive from whoever allows God to work through their vessel. So you may help this person out today, and then a completely different person may come into your life to help you out tomorrow. But, when we don't have very secure boundaries, and when a lot of our giving and sharing and charity is in spaces where we have expectations and obligations, it may not always meet the criteria of giving cheerfully. And so with this spirit being the seat of consciousness, with the heart being the seat of consciousness for our bodies, for our physiology, then we have to understand that it's the most important thing. If it stops beating, then life ceases to exist. You can go brain dead and still be considered amongst the land of the living. But once the heart is not functioning properly, then we know that that's the end of our time. And so when we want to do things to add vitality and luster to the heart, just keep the word charity in mind, okay? So moving down to the mental plane. The mental plane is more, that mind, that head space is more like the office, Okay, this is the office for our spirit or our consciousness. A lot of times when you even mention the word consciousness, people already associate that with something on the mental plane. Okay, but that's not again the home for the consciousness. It's the office for the consciousness. It's the place where we make judgments, hopefully not too hastily. So in this human experience, we're given this mind and this mental function to process what's going on with us, to process these emotions, and to feel and make sure that things are in alignment. But a lot of times, excuse me, a lot of times we like I said, we make judgments too hastily. We could be given misinformation that we emotionally react to. And in Vedic literature, they call this a mistake of the intellect. A mistake of the intellect is just because you're thinking it doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean it's right. And nowadays, you can go on the internet and probably get justification for just about anything, and a lot of times even the nonsense. And so we're already having to make sure that when we are thinking about something, does it resonate? And so when you ask people that, does it resonate, what we're really asking is, how does it feel to your spirit body? Does this feel like the right thing to do, or does this feel like something you have to do? So we're kind of, making that connection with our integrity. And so under the mental, we have emotions, right? And then those emotions, they're receptors, and they kind of work in tandem with the mental, because it's like, once I think about this certain thing, I'm going to connect it with an emotional feeling. And again, this could be mistakes of the intellect, because we were all children at one point, and we may have all been brainwashed or misguided, or we mishandle situations. And it's a constant learning thing where we're getting better about our mind and our emotions and that connection. But we understand that our emotions can be fickle at times. And so I brought up this example once before, if you attended one of my other classes. And it was just saying that if I give you information, if I tell you a story, um, let's watch your emotions change, right? So if I tell you, um, this Black man was just shot and killed by the police, you know what I'm saying? You may clench your pearls, like, oh my God, not another one. We have this emotional connection to this experience, right? But then if I turn around and I tell you, oh yeah, after he, kidnapped and trafficked 29 kids, all of a sudden you may not have that same emotional disposition, because in your mental office space, you've decided that maybe this person actually, you know, deserved, in a way, what has happened to them. And so this is just an example of that mental and emotional connection, and how sometimes, we can get caught slipping in the mental and emotions. And I think we've all come to realize that, which is why, counseling is so prevalent right now. Mental health and awareness is so prevalent right now. And we're getting into these things because we're understanding that there is actually a disconnect between these four things. So like I said, then after that, we have the physical. Okay. That's when we've noticed that an imbalance has hit our body. It has turned into a physical manifestation. So when we look at today's topic, which is the origins of disease or dis-ease starts in the spirit. And so, yes, through a closer relationship with God, certainly we can try to, you know, prevent things before they manifest into the physical. Like, that's absolutely an option. But we have these other things. We have our genetics and what may have happened to you in the womb. Sometimes we look at these things as generational curses. So nevertheless, I'm saying we do have things to overcome, right? We do have things to overcome. But ultimately, we want to get our spirit body right, our mental right, our emotional right, so that we are not having the physical manifestation of these imbalances in our body. And so I'm going to give you an example. Like I said, I will tie some of these things as to like the reason why I'm doing things the way that I am, in as we go. And so I have a nervous condition that probably started I can remember as far back as to maybe like 6 or 7. And it wasn't anything major that I really just, gave much attention to when I was younger, but I just thought, okay, maybe I just was a little bit shy, or maybe I just had this crippling anxiety, or mainly just shy, I guess I would say, because that's what other people say, oh, she's just shy, or he's just shy, or whatever. And so always pretty intelligent. So I did have that to kind of hold myself together. But when it came to like getting up and talking to people and doing public speaking, like some of the things that I would think of before having to speak publicly is like, do they have a podium and do they have a mic stand? Because I would be trembling. I would be literally shaking out of my boots. So I wanted there to be a podium so people couldn't see my body, and I wanted there to be a mic stand so I didn't have to hold the mic. And so I thought to myself, like, as I got on my journey to healing, like, why? Why am I like that? And even my friends, they're like, Ashley, you speak so well. You articulate your stuff well. You do so good. And I'm just like, yeah, I hear you guys, but that doesn't say anything to, my feelings and where these feelings come from. And so I began to just, again, think back to all my embarrassing moments, all of these experiences, to figure out why I have such an overwhelming sensation in my nervous system. And it has manifested into things, numbness, hair loss, all types of things. And so, as I was reading up on this, even from a book that I'll share with you guys, Metaphysical Anatomy, I realized that this could have been a manifestation that happened to me when I was in my mother's womb. And so my mom's on here, but I think she's comfortable with me sharing at this point, because I always do, because it's a part of my experience. But you may understand, or you may know, that my mom was a teen mom. And so being a teen mom, it puts a lot of pressure on you, more pressure than anybody wants to have, especially if were a teen mom and you were within the church. Okay. And so you're dealing with, the pressure that's on you, the shame that may be coming from external environments, and it could just be a lot. So whatever emotions my mom felt, whether it be fear, whether it be shame, whether it be guilt, whether it be frustration, all of these things got passed to me too, because she was carrying me. And so that's why we always say, like, take care of mothers, take care of pregnant women. Always make sure you support them, show them love or whatever, because an unsupported mother is going to deliver a child with the predisposition to feel unsupported. And they may not ever really be able to understand what happened in their life to cause this, because again, it may have been something passed through the womb. Or again, we can get things that are just, like I said, it's passed through the generations, and that could be learned behavior or the actual genetics of things. And so sharing that with you about my experience, because again, we want to trace the root of the issue. So after you've figured out that you have some illness or ailment in the physical body, okay, when do I feel triggered? What emotions am I experiencing? Is it I'm impatient? What's going on that's triggering this experience in my emotional body? Now, how can I rethink this? How can I change my perception of this? So let me give you an example. Road rage, right? I don't know if anybody has road rage, but everybody knows what road rage looks like. Okay. I'm on the highway. This person has cut me off. Oh my God, they can't drive. Oh my God, they're too slow. I'm weaving in and out of lanes. I'm doing all of these things. Now I'm frustrated because I'm in the fast lane and somebody is in the fast lane and they are going 65. Sir, ma'am, why are you over here? It's the whole right lane for you to be in. I got somewhere to go, right? And so we may begin to have these emotions of frustration and anxiety coming up as we're going 87, 94 miles per hour. I don't know how fast I drive. I'm just teasing. But it's one thing to be in that space of, oh my God, this is so frustrating that this car has cut me off or this person is going this slow, right? But let's look at the real root. Where are you going and why are you late? Why are you late? Why didn't you get up earlier? I don't know why you didn't get up earlier, but at some point there has to be some level of acceptance and accountability, because you'll have to come into yourself and you'll have to be like, look, I do want to make it to my destination alive. I'm being slow. I'm being slowed for a reason right now. It's giving you the opportunity to think about what can be done differently. And God forbid this is happening on a Monday through Friday to somewhere you go every day, and traffic should be anticipated, because for real, why are you late? You got to know by now what time you need to wake up or how long it's going to take to get from your house to, your job with ease. Okay. And so when we're connecting to our emotions, we're saying, hey, whew, let me take a deep breath. Let me calm myself down. I didn't have to cuss the old lady out that cut me off. She ain't know her license is about to be revoked in a minute. Let me give her some grace. You know what I'm saying? And understand that, okay, next time I'm gonna have to start getting up earlier, or whatever the case it was, I should have got to bed earlier. But we assume some personal, accountability for it. And then we can release it. We learn the lesson, we don't do it again. You might be late. You might not be late. Sometimes I don't know if anybody has ever felt like they were late, and then they get there and realize that they're right on time, or whatever they were rushing to didn't even start on time. And then some people like, I'm mad at that. I did 90 to get here. How y'all not gonna start on time, instead of just being grateful that you early instead of late? So again, we're talking about what type of things are happening to our consciousness while our consciousness is in the office, in the mental. And sometimes you just got to say, okay, I'm going to come out the office and I'm going to stop overthinking it, and I'm going to just drop back into my heart space where my consciousness is supposed to be dwelling. And in that, I'm just going to give grace to the situation, because I don't want to be a victim. I don't want to blame people. I don't want to blame others for my experience, because it disempowers me. And I'm actually a creator, and I get to create my life. I get to create my experience. And it may mean creating a way to wake up 30 minutes earlier so that I can do the things I need to do. And some people have just adopted being okay being late. Everybody on here probably knows somebody that is habitually tardy for something, right? And I know that I attract, since I've been kind of doing this work, I noticed like similar people gravitate towards me, or people who've gone through similar things, because a lot of what I share is my personal testimony. So I'm willing to bet that most of you all that are tuned in right now probably are more prone to be people pleasers than somebody that would just show up late, because you probably be more concerned about, how you make other people feel, which is not bad. Very high empathy over here, right? And so, you may not just be like, okay, I'm gonna just be late. So you got to do some work then. If you can't come with that acceptance that I'm going to be late and it's either going to be okay or not going to be okay, then you do more work to make sure that you're not being late if it's going to cause that big of an issue for you. But sometimes, in the few rare times that it happened, we could just accept that maybe it may be divine timing. So I am going to go back to the book that I was describing to you all, Metaphysical Anatomy. And I'm just going to kind of give you a little excerpt from this book to tie in the point that I'm making with the connection between our spirit, mental, emotional, and physical. So I just started having, right before it was time to get on, probably like 2 hours before it's time to get on, upper back pain. Okay, upper back pain right in the shoulder, like just tightness to where I just have to keep rotating my shoulders and my arms and everything. And so I'm going to put myself on the chopping block. Again, if you've been to any of my sessions, you may have heard me read from this book before, and I usually pick a volunteer. I'm going to be the volunteer today. So again, this book is called Metaphysical Anatomy. Your Body is Talking. Are You Listening? The author of this book is Yvette Rose. And so what I'm going to be reading today is the emotions connected to upper back pain. It says, you have heard enough of others' opinions, and you want to follow your own path and stick to your own opinion. If only you could figure out what it is. People have projected their own personal agenda onto you in the past. This may have resulted in only hearing what you want to hear, which is known as selective hearing. You feel suppressed and humiliated by bullies or influential people. This stems from an unsupportive, dominant, and manipulative childhood where only the breadwinner was respected and allowed to get away with abusive behavior. Bending over backwards to please others and feel responsible for everyone has given you acceptance, love, and safety. Because you have given into others' agendas so often, you lack direction and guidance. The demeaning words of others greatly affect your identity and personal power. You feel like giving up after having worked so hard to please people who cannot be pleased. That's not the whole excerpt. I'm gonna stop right there because it was getting a little real. It was getting a little real for me. But it's not, with this book, it's not going to be everything verbatim, and then understanding that it's different levels to it. But that absolutely resonated with me as I'm getting ready to go in this class, because as I mentioned to you guys before, I agreed to do this class because somebody else asked me to do it on their platform. And one of the things that I didn't want to do when I was trying to make that so-called contract with God, where I'm just like, I'm gonna do stuff if people ask me to do it, but I'm not just gonna step out there, is because I do have a deep-seated fear of other people's opinions. And I did have a childhood where that abusive behavior was tolerated only from certain people in instances, right? And so it is telling me what it is in my emotional body. It's not going to be all those childhood things. Like that could have been in different parts of my life where it more had to do with others, because I've experienced this same pain many times in life. But right now I understand that this trigger is about me putting out some work that's mine and knowing that it's going to have to be judged by others. And that's so hard for me. And so it manifested into this tightness. As I'm talking to you guys right now, I'm actually kind of massaging it a little bit, and it's dissipated. It's feeling lighter right now since I've been having a discussion about it than it's felt in the last 2.5 hours, I guess I would say. And so when we're talking about the emotions, the mental, we can be talking about something that's specific to the moment, like what's going on with me today, or we can talk about something that's long term. A lot of times the triggers are specific to the moment, but when we look at the long term effects, so for example, I'm telling you this as it relates to my fear of public speaking or, sharing information or being judged. But this could bleed over into many other places in my life. So you guys may notice a time where you're feeling things on all fronts. It may be the finances, it may be the children, it may be the job. And when I go through the practice of counseling, I hear people talk about, this is what's going on in finances, this is what's going on with my family, this is going on with my job. Most of the time, they all stem from the same thing. It's just different angles. When we look at mirroring things, it's just different angles of the same thing. And so what may happen is we'll say, oh, that was just one issue, the issue with my job, or I'm going to handle that. I'm going to get another job. But you notice that leaving that job didn't actually provide you with the fulfillment that you were looking for. Because when you left that job, it was because the boss was a narcissist. And then you realize you get in a relationship with somebody that has these same attributes, or you get in a situation where somebody is discriminating against you in some way where you feel powerless to this discrimination. It could be a racial discrimination. So you'll hear, that continued emotional experience keep showing up. And so if you're a people pleaser, I know I probably have more women on right now than not. So I'll speak to this, but we'll get more into it in week 3 when we talk about autoimmune disorders. But if you're a people pleaser and you do this chronically, then even if you don't profess to feel victimized by the experience, you still could feel stressed because you feel like you're not receiving reciprocity. Because when you call a meeting, you make sure you're there on time. And you want other people to be there on time, when it's vice versa, because you want that reciprocal nature. And so when, like I said, with having the women on here, we have a different way of actually holding space, like I said, which kind of leads to these autoimmune disorders. And we'll get into that a little bit more, but it's just important to be very careful about how we're viewing things and the stress management. I'm looking at the time, y'all. I'm going to be kind to it. It's 8:15. So I want to kind of transition a little bit just so I can give you some more information, but I kind of made my point on that topic anyway. But I just want to bring us back into the importance of a holistic approach to our health and our wellness. Because, like I said, by the time we're in the physical space, it is already manifested into something. And so it's not even preventative care anymore. You're looking for a solution at that point. You're looking for a pill to take. You're looking for an injection. You're looking for something. But we want to catch it in the spirit, right? We want to catch it in the mind. We want to catch it in the emotions before it manifests. So I'm laying this foundation so that as we build through the weeks, you can kind of see what you need to do with the spirit and the mind and the emotions to make sure that you have a healthier existence, a wealthier, more fruitful existence. And so for this class, I wasn't going to start us out with something to do. I'll just say it like that because I'm not trying to give you too much before I get there. But I do want you to do something. This week, I really want you to consider your health goals. And if you can, come up with one specific goal. Now, a lot of times we may have multiple goals. I'll put it like this. If you can find one specific goal that you want to bring into fruition over the next 12 weeks and you got 100% and you can put 100% in, then we can meet the goal. But if you have like 5 goals and you may have like 100% and then you got to give 20 to each of these things and you can't really get them on a disciplined schedule, et cetera, it just may be overwhelming. Like I said, we want to do things with ease and grace. So if you could just think of one thing, one health goal that you want to accomplish. Let me give you some examples. You may just decide you want to lower your blood pressure. You may just decide you want to lose a little weight. You may decide that you want to, experience some new level of emotional maturity. It don't just have to be within the physical body if you already in tune to, any of those other areas. I do want you to get in mind to go because I really want this course to be a discipline for us to where you can think of that goal and by the time we get to week 12, I really want you guys to have a testimony. I really want you to say, hey, I did this thing. I got my mind right on it. I got my emotions right on it. I talked to God about it. And I want you to see some fruit. And I want you to see some fruit. And so I want you to get whatever that goal is, something, simple enough, attainable, but ultimately something that you be proud to say, I accomplished this, over this 12-week time span. That's what I want you to have on next week. What I'm going to do is I will take this recording and put it on something, YouTube, a website, anything like that. So you can always go back and reference it. But not only that, if it was good to you, you'll be able to share it with somebody else so that you can invite them for next time. And so I hope that you guys, did enjoy what was given. I know the first class, because it's an introduction, you kind of got to adapt. You got to adapt to what I'm saying, the speed, the tone, the everything. And I know that I'm working through some anxiousness right now. If you could see me, like I said, I've been rotating my shoulders since we got on. And so I hope that it was okay for week 1. And I hope that you guys were able to have some takeaways. We're about 10 minutes until the end of class, but I'm going to go ahead and end it early so that I can allow some questions without it going too far, into 9 o'clock. And so feel free to either raise your hand or you can unmute yourself if you did have a question or a comment. Don't be shy. So I'm gonna guess it was really thorough then. Everybody got it. Awesome. I appreciate. Okay, so again, just to reiterate, y'all, we're going to be doing this every Thursday at 7:30 to 8:30 for the next 12 weeks. Just to kind of give you a little bit of an outline of what's going on. Next week, we're going to be talking about healthy manifestations and the power of positive thinking. Week 3, we're going to talk about the gut-brain axis and autoimmune disorders. Week 4, we'll go into stress management and conflict resolution. Week 5, intro to Ayurveda. Week 6, diet and daily routine. Week 7, we'll talk about different herbs and prescription medicines. Week 8, we'll talk about a wellness consultation and what a wellness consultation actually looks like, and then how to even make your doctor's visit a wellness consultation, right? Week 9, we'll talk about the body as a self-healing mechanism. I'm going to let you guys know now, Week 9 is not a class. You will not log in here. Week 9 is a video that I'm going to ask you guys to watch, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it for week 10 with the psychosomatic causes of disease and discomfort. That kind of goes more into depth with what I was describing with this metaphysical anatomy book. Week 11, we'll talk about a new generation of healing, and week 12, we'll really be ready for those testimonies and that fellowship, okay? So I really, really thank and appreciate you guys for taking out the time to be here. I told you guys it would be very stress-free, nothing you got to do. You don't have to take notes. So I hope that encourages you to come be in this meditative state with me again on next Thursday. I love you all. Bye.